Facebook, how's everybody doing today? Hope everyone's having an awesome day. I'd like to do a quick tutorial on something that I've been asked to do, and this person asked me if I would explain how I go about doing or demonstrate how I go about doing a mix for a brass choir, brass ensemble, or brass quartet. So, as you can see here, I have three flugelhorns, one tuba, three trombones. This is a piece that was written by Los Angeles composer and trombonist Craig Ware, who's an amazing arranger and even a more amazing bass trombone player. And this is a tune called "A Quiet Place," and it's not like your typical chamber type piece. It's there's a lot of color, a lot of jazz chords in here. So let's take a listen. Alright, so as you can hear, it's very jazz orientated, especially like around here where it goes D flat, sus 13. I mean, very pretty chord, but it's not like your typical chamber orchestra type thing. Alright, so I'll explain what I did. So let's go to the mix part of it. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to pan these things. So let's go to the flugelhorn. Well, let's go to the tuba first. The tuba is the heartbeat of this ensemble. So he's going to go right in the middle. Usually you put the bass instruments in the middle. So there he is right there. And then, so let's go to the flugelhorns next. Usually what I would do is I put the lead voice on the right, on the extreme right. So he's the closest to you. Or sometimes I would put him in the middle. But let's see what happens. So let's put him to extreme right. And then I would put flugel 2 here, and then flugel 3 around this area too, closer to the bass instrument. And what I do is, if you can see here, there's a thing called flugelhorn. This is a aux that I created. All I did was go to Options, Create Auxiliary Channel Strip, and I'll show you what I did just real quick, okay? Then I typed in flugelhorn, okay? And what I did is in order to be able to move it around, I went to create. So, it comes up here in the edit window. I can move it around, where I need it. So, anyway, I don't need that. So, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. But, yeah, that's what I did. So, here's an aux, meaning, I have three flugelhorn parts. And they're played by the same person. And that's a good and a bad thing when it comes to mix. Well, not a bad thing, but there's some problems when you have one person doing overdub. And then, but here's the thing. I have this aux here. So anything I want to do to the flugelhorns all at once, I do it right here globally. Just expedites my workflow. And we have trombones here, which has an aux, again, which I showed you how I created. And again, if I want to do anything to the trombones. So let's look at the panning for the trombones. Usually, I'm going to kind of go reverse what I did. Lowest instrument here, first trombone, and the second right here. Again, there's a contrast here. You have bright, dark, and you'll see what I mean right here in a minute. And so what I do is I kind of just pan the trombone aux. I like to pan my auxes a little bit. Just, get nice separation. So let's listen and let's see if I made some good choices. Now the telltale sign of a good mix is when you can transcribe all the parts and you can hear all the parts, you can hear all the voices. And I think we did that here. I think you can hear all the trombone voices, all the trumpet voices, and the tuba voices. One of the things too, one of the benefits of having a one player who did all the flugels, one player who did all the trombone parts, is that instead of EQing all these differently, you could just do the EQ here again and the compression here. Just get it all done at once, because again, he used the same mic, he used the same the same flugelhorn, the same whatever. So this difference in the sounds aren't. You're not going to really have so many problems sonically in each one of these. There's not going to be a difference. It's not like every player has their own sound, and you gotta make adjustments accordingly. So that's one of the good things. And so what I do next is, after I panned everything, I do what I call the balancing act. And so I go to the loudest part of the piece, which is right here, and I'm just gonna balance my mix. There's a few things I'm hearing that are going to be problematic right off the bat. The the tuba, however he was recorded very bright. He has a very bright sound for a tuba, so we're going to have to fix that, because there's a frequency in there that's jumping out every time, and I'm sure you can hear it. Also, there's one of the trombones. I'm hearing the third trombone. You can hear the clicking. See? You can hear his trigger clicking. So that's problematic. But here's the thing. If, we can take that out. We totally can take that out. And if it bothers you, you can take it out. Like for me though, if I was gonna watch this group live, that's something I would hear. I would hear the trigger. Again, I like to have a very organic approach to mixing. I like to oops, sorry about that. I like to feel like I'm there. I like to feel like I'm, part of the audience. And, a lot of us, again, since this is kind of a jazz type thing, they're going to be in a hall or a small church or something like that. They're not going to be in some grand concert hall. Now, you could put them in a grand concert hall. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I like to feel like I'm sitting maybe, 15, 20 feet away from them. And that, so I can hear all the voices, and I can hear a little bit of the trigger noise. So again, and we'll do all that again. Have you noticed I wasn't messing with these? I wasn't messing with any of these. I was just messing with the auxes when I was dealing with the volumes. So, and that's one of the really great things about aux. You just mess with the aux channels and don't have to mess with the individual channels. It's really cool. So, and as you can see here, I did a mixed bus aux. I did an ensemble, which the flugelhorn, the tuba, and the trombone are all routed to. Here's my verb, which I'll put on the horns, and then I'll put everybody in a room. So, and I'll explain how I go about doing that. So let's do this. Since what I'd like to do is I would like to EQ and deal with the tuba first. So let's listen to the tuba. Now that we got everything balanced. See that the nasally. that's going to be a problem. Now, since he plays in there, when you listen to the track, he's going to be playing there a lot. So the best thing to do is to use a multi-band compressor. Find the nasally, uh, and just control it. Don't get rid of it, but just control it. So let's see where that's at. Let's see where we can find that thing at. Let's bypass. I think it's around 300 hertz. I'm pretty sure. So let's go here. Wait. Okay, so what I did is I put a reduction, 2 dB. What I'm doing is when the frequency hits my compressor, what it does, instead of bringing it out, it pushes it down, so it really doesn't stick out in the mix that much. And all I did was adjust the threshold here, and then how much I want, like 3-to-1, and then I just put a small reduction, like 2 dB. So it seems to be working. Again, it's that nasally. We don't want that nasally, frequency in our tuba. Okay, so, and then what we could do here is now let's use our EQ, and let's see where that nasally. Alright, cool. So, and then what I gotta add some bottom end to that. So let's go ahead and high pass filter, and let's add some bottom end to about 100 there. A little bit. Again, 3 dB at the most. And I'm not doing a lot of craziness here. Doing small moves. All right, so let's and then let's compress. When he gets up there and really loud, let's go ahead and control those dynamics. Let's use a compressor. I like to use, especially on bass instruments, when I'm using Logic, I like to use the 1176. So, and we'll just kiss the compressor. Let's do a faster attack, so we'll make sure it hits that when he gets up there. Now let's listen to our choices and see if we improved it or not. Okay, now let's go ahead and hit our EQ. Let's see if we brought up some clarity and some punch. I would say so. I would even compress just a little bit more. Okay, great. Great, let's listen to it in the mix. I think we did a good job there. So, okay, now that we're done with that, let's go to our trombones. Um, Trombones for me are a beautiful instrument, man. I love, and since we have a solo trombone in here, we're gonna have to do some automation maybe. So let's listen to the trombone section. First of all, that's some really beautiful trombone playing. Guy's a great player. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's do our high pass filter here. Trombones usually speak around 800 hertz. So let's maybe do a boost there. Just a small boost, you know. I only get the bass trombone too. He's around 300. Now you guys watch this frequency right here. Watch that frequency. Don't get too carried away. That's where a lot of mud lives in a mix, is that frequency, 350, 300. So you don't want to get too carried away. So let's look at our choices. Let's see if we did a better job. Let's listen to it after the effect and before. So here's without. Okay, sounds good. And for trombones, I like to use the same compressor. Kind of. I'm gonna use the LA2A here. Again, distortion release. Kind of a quick attack, semi-quick attack with a release. Since this is kind of jazzy, so let's listen to it. And again, let's just kiss the compressor. Again, beautiful playing. Let's listen to that in the mix and let's see if we did it justice. Again, can you hear all the instruments? Do you hear clarity? If you do, if you hear all the voices, you hear clarity, you're in good shape. So let's go to our flugelhorns now. Again, it's the reason I'm not EQing everybody all at the same time is because it's one player. You know, the variables aren't there. If you would have like 5 or 6. So let's go about 100, 90 to 100. There's no information for the flugelhorn down here. Now, one of the things is the flugelhorns I hear are playing in their upper register, which is around 1K to 2K. So let's bring that down a little bit, because and each one of them's doing that, and that frequency tends to build up. Also, let's warm them up. Let's see where we can warm them up. Round them out a little bit. Okay, what I'm going for is, you're like, okay, well, why did you bring down his upper frequencies? Flugelhorn to me is supposed to be round and kind of not brassy. It's it's supposed to be round and dark, and that's what I'm going for. Plus, this is kind of a jazz thing, and so I'm trying to flugelhorn's not supposed to be bright. Well, in this case, whatever your taste may be. So let's go to where he's really playing, and let's see if we made a good choice here. Okay, so what I'm hearing is, let's listen to it before the effect and after. Now. Again, it's a small little thing that I did, but it's the small decisions that really make a great mix. And so let's go to the compressor here. Again, little distortion, fast, so somewhat fast attack, slow release, and auto gain off, auto. And let's just kiss the compressor. And let's go to I like to go to the loudest part. That's where I like to go. Now, let's check it with the mix. Beautiful, beautiful. So now that I'm done, it's time to go to the ensemble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a little bit of compression on the entire ensemble, and I'll tell you why. Because it's kind of like glue, and again, nothing crazy. I use this gingerly, and then watch what happens to the mix. Watch what happens when we just use a little bit of compression. And I like to use this platinum digital here. Or you can go ahead and use the SSL. Let's use the SSL just for fun. Okay, so use that. All right. Okay, so let's do that. So. Okay, so I'm going to play it without the compressor and then with. Now with. Again, bringing it to life, just little glue, And I know I said I wouldn't do this. I would use stock plugins, but I'm going to use my virtual tape plugin, which I absolutely love. So, and we're going to slow it down. So. Now let's put some of the sweet stuff on here. Let's put the reverb. Everybody's waiting for the reverb. And here's the thing. So I have bright instruments, with the exception of the tuba. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dark reverb, and watch what happens. So, and I'm going to use a plate reverb for the trombone and the flugelhorn. So I'm going to use a dark reverb. Let's go with the vocal plate. Yeah, let's do that. And then again, instead of sending all of these and all of those to one reverb. I just send it via aux. Okay, so let's to the verb. We're just gonna send it to the verb, and again, I'm just gonna do the flugelhorns. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the trombones the same way. Okay. Again, I listen for the verb to where I can hear it, and then I back off. Okay, now you're like, well, what about the tuba? So what we're gonna do with the tuba is routed to this ensemble piece, okay, or this ensemble bus. And what we're gonna do is I like to put them inside a chamber. Again, when you're like, well, what room are you gonna put them in? We can, first of all, let's see what happens when we put them inside a church. And I gotta hurry here. I think my time's running out. So, a dark chamber. Okay. And then, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here to the room, and then I'm just gonna add okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, because when you have a lower instrument, and here's something that people don't really think about. When you have a lower instrument, man, and you start putting reverb on a lower instrument, it starts muddying things up. So I'm just going to just curve it off right here. Watch what happens to the mix. Lot of that effect, so let's back off. Now you're like, Joseph, I feel like they're right in my face. I want them far back. I want to like see if I want to make it look like they're on stage 30 feet away from me. Okay, watch this. Again, do we lose clarity? No. Do we lose punch? No. But we did push them back. And so now, in my mix bus, what I do is I just go ahead and I use a bus compressor like the SSL here. SSL, auto gain. Okay. Auto, we take that off. Again, I'll make about 3. Okay. And then let's kiss the compressor. Again, the compressor's barely moving. Now here's a trick. If you really want this to really polish, look what happens. nice. Now, as you can hear the hiss. Can you hear that tape hiss? That's pretty funny. So, yeah. And so what I would do is I would do that. And then, too, again, if the ensemble still sounds too much in your face, lower them. But you're like, Joseph, that killed my volume. You're absolutely right. So what you would do is you go here, and you go to an adaptive limiter, and then you just add what you need. Put the ceiling at like 1, or I put it at -2 if I'm going to stream it. Now I'm starting to hear, real quick, I'm starting to hear first that tape hiss. And secondly, I'm starting to hear some mud. So again, work globally. Let's EQ this. Put a little bit of the shine on there. And then let's look for the mud and get rid of that. Again, if you hear that distortion or tape hiss, a lot of times too, if you want that gone, just get rid of some of the distortion in your compressor. Usually that's what it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna. So we got rid of some of the tape hiss, yeah. So anyway, that's the way so let's play the mix again. Just listen to it and see what we got. Okay, so now that we played our mix, and we were, you're probably like, Joseph, what were you doing the whole time? So first of all, if you see this, what this is, and I forgot to explain it, this is what they call a limiter. And what happens? It adds gain, and once you're gonna peak, it kind of it brings the volume level down. And here's the thing, for me, um, I just did this so I would like to, so when it goes to mastering, if it does, if I decide to master it, if you look at this, and let's just use a regular limiter. I think it'd be a better better learning tool here. So let's just look at the regular limiter. So what you want to pay attention to is this level right here. I'm nowhere near peaking. So when I do send this to mastering or something, the mastering engineer is going to have all the headroom he needs to work here. And so that's one thing I do. I put the limiter there. So and plus I add volume. Plus if you notice, I mix pretty quiet. I mean, if you look at the levels, I always have plenty of headroom. You don't want to over peak. You don't want to overblow this thing, because you lose transients. You lose, when I say transients, you lose like some of the overtones. Now, as you can see, I was going through, and I'm gonna take this one off. I mean, it does add some chutzpah or some buff to it, but I'm getting too much tape sound. What I think I'll do is I'll add it before the compressor. Sorry. See, I'm still getting that tape sound. I'm not too crazy about it, so let's get rid of it. See, now it's gone. The tape sound's gone. It does add some bulk, does add some, some, like I said, chutzpah, but which you can also do too, and I'll show you how to do this. If you like the tape sound and you don't want to hear the hiss, just do that. Again, not my cup of tea, so whatever. And so to wrap this up, guys, that's one thing I did. And as you saw, I was adjusting levels. I was, I hear the trombones a little too loud, so I'm going to bring them down a little bit. But I skipped a few steps, and those steps were, I skipped the editing part because I pre-edited this. I should have said that at the beginning of the tutorial. I pre-edited this. I lined everything up. Entrances, attacks, releases. I did all that before I did this mixing tutorial. So I'll do a separate tutorial on editing. Also, we're not done. This is just a mix. What we're going to do is we're going to do a thing called sweetening in the next video, where we're going to do some automation. We're going to do dynamics. We're going to do presence, stuff like that, because people think that this is just done. Okay, well, no, we're going to add some automation, a little bit of automation, bring things to life, put things in the foreground, put things in the background, and therefore make it our live performance. So tune in for the next tutorial. I hope this helps somebody. I hope this gave you some sort of direction on how to mix a brass ensemble. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for the love. And we'll see you in the next video.